Hi, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about Pathfinder 2, or PF2. I love PF2, and Rival Academies is a pretty cool book. I was surprised there are so many... They really worked on variety in this book, and that's really cool, because everybody gets something. I'd rather witches got their own book entirely, but that's just me, and that would be selfish, and that's wrong. So, now we're going to talk about witches. The Kobaslarni witches. It's a new patron, because witch patrons. Kaha. Alright, so if you want to skip the lore for the Kobaslarni witches, which sounds Irish and somehow isn't, then skip to this time. I'm going to start with lore, because that's what I always do, because I like lore. So ha. Hello. Kobaslarni witches. First of all, I want to point out that Kobaslarni is an elephant the size of a mountain range upon which a school sits. This elephant is not only sentient, but psychic, has a third eye, and wanders the plains. And the school is all about making pacts. So they make pacts with a variety of different planes, and they learn more about how to get rid of the demons in Golarion. He doesn't like demons, I guess. Kobaslarni Witches, the silent eponymous founder of the Traveling Academy of Kobaslarni, that is so hard to say, spends his time contemplating the mysteries of the cosmos, sending his mind far afield in search of greater knowledge. Through his academy and even direct patronage, he trains and shelters many witches. I love witches. This is such a cool system. Some witches are even called for a psychic conference with the founder. They return with strange knowledge or physical changes, but few will speak of what they saw inside the ancient being's mindscape. Indeed, their words and magic are generally insufficient for the task. The most favored are marked with a functioning third eye like Kobaslarni's. Can we just call him Kobe? It's so much easier. Which is generally a sign that the chosen witch needs to begin a journey of their own. Even which, that's sort of an inversion of the traditional third eye. Third eye means you have attained enlightenment. In this case, it means you need to start on enlightenment. That's interesting, because it's a fresh take on it. Even witches that have not been personally chosen by the headmaster generally contract familiars in the ever-shifting realm of the first world. Many of these seem unfinished compared to mortal witches' familiars, changing appearance and abilities drastically from day to day, which I think is just more fun. Among those with more set forms, tolerant students often select the unruly Mocking Fae, and more experienced authors will bring calligraphy worms under their care. There's entries for both of these. Spoiler, the calligraphy worms didn't change. It's just more specific terminology, but it didn't change. Certain lessons are also passed down among the witches of Kobe. Although it's said some originate from the headmaster, others represent untold time and research into the nature of oaths. There are 2 new lessons for witches. Oh yeah! They're both greater lessons. Kobaslarni Rare Witch Patron. And that's a Mocking Fae on your screen, which is just amusing and weird. Though Kobe doesn't often interact directly with mortals these days, your quest for wisdom has drawn his attention. You studied at his academy, encountered him on his travels throughout the plains, or responded to his strange psychic call. However your meeting occurred, Kobe empowered your studies. Though Kobe rarely demands anything directly from his witches, you may receive visions of danger to the academy or its students in times of dire need. Psychic elephant that travels the plains wants to be your boss? Cool. Most witches chosen by Kobe, if they're not already students at the academy, make their way there at some point. Some who follow these nudges remain at the academy indefinitely, but most eventually move on to experience their own journeys or even establish their own schools. Spell list, occult. I guess that makes sense. It could be arcane, in my opinion. Patron skill, occultism. Lesson of wandering mind. Kobe has taught you to keep an open mind and seek knowledge in all things, sifting through an array of facts that others would find bewildering. You gain the Information Overload Hex cantrip, and your familiar learns Deja Vu. Deja Vu just forces an enemy to repeat the same action. And I will read Information Overload right now. I'll go back to the familiar. Information Overload. Hex cantrip, 1 action, rare cantrip, concentrate, hex, mental, witch. Patron, Kobaslarni. Range 30 feet, targets one creature, defense will, duration sustained up to 1 minute. It's a standard witch hex cantrip. You call on Kobe to open the target's mind to knowledge. Too much knowledge! The target's thoughts flood with irrelevant and confusing information, causing it to become Stupefied 1 if it fails a will save, or Stupefied 2 on a critical failure. That's all it does. Not always going to be useful. But against casters, it's a really easy way to screw up their spells. It's like niche, but it's powerful in its niche. Alright, now back to the familiar. Familiar of insightful observation. Your familiar boasts a third eye upon their head or body, resembling the one set in Kobislarni's forehead. When you cast or sustain a hex, your familiar can attempt a check to recall knowledge as a free action, with any skill in which you are trained or better, using your bonus and psychically transmit the information to you. You get a free recall knowledge every time you use a hex cantrip or sustain one. Holy shit! Huge time saver, action compression. This is awesome for witches, like in general, for most witches. Because witches tend to have a lot of skills, because they're smarty pants. So that's the entirety of the patron. I'm going to switch to the Greater Witch lessons now instead of doing the familiars because, well, the calligraphy worm hasn't changed at all, and the Mocking Fae familiar it's cool. Okay, so like, its big thing is it gets to make an illusory appearance of a creature it can see within 60 feet, and basically it mocks them. They have to make a save. If they succeed, they're unaffected. If they fail, they're off guard till the start of your next turn as it's distracted by your familiar's taunts. So the familiar just becomes them and like dances around and mocks them. Critical failure, the creature's off guard until the end of your next turn. That's cool. It's a good ability. It takes 4 abilities to get one, and they have flair, independent speech, and that jibe mocking thing. Greater Witch lessons. The following uncommon Greater Witch lessons are often taught at Kobe or by its past students. Those who study knowledge shaping gravitate toward the lesson of memory, while those who focus on pacts often find the lesson of vows useful. So, lesson of memory. Kobe has untold years of memories, which he's learned how to shape, recalling information, or obliterating it. You gain the Unravel Knowledge Hex, and your familiar learns Hypercognition, which is amazing. It's an occult spell. Normally, it is 3rd rank, and when you use it, it takes 1 action, and you get to roll 6 recall knowledge checks. This is just amazing for knowledge. And the Unravel Knowledge Hex takes 2 actions. It's a 3rd rank focus spell. The lesson is memory. It has the Concentrate, Focus, Hex, Manipulate, Mental, Witch, and Uncommon traits. 30-foot range, 1 creature, will sustained up to 1 minute. Your patron reaches into the target's mind, plucking out their past training. Your patron reaches into the target's mind, plucking out their past training like pulling a thread from a cloth. Choose a single action, activity, or spell you know the target can use, such as from seeing it previously, or identifying the creature's capabilities with a recall knowledge check. You could select, for example, the strike action, the disarm action, a dragon's breath, or the haste spell, if you were aware the target could use them. The target attempts a will save. Success, the target is unaffected. Failure, the target's memories of their ability grow foggy. The first time they use the chosen ability each round, they take 3d8 mental damage. This ability is less effective if you choose an ability almost anyone can use. The target takes 3d4 mental damage instead if you choose a basic action such as strike, stride, or raise a shield. Or a skill action that can be used on trains such as demoralize or hide. Critical failure. As failure, and the target takes a -2 status penalty to any check or DC for the ability the first time they use it each round. Awesome. Heightened, every rank gets heightened. The damage increases by 1d8 or by 1d4 for a basic action or untrained skill action. I would be taking this to add Hypercognition to the Arcane or Primal list, because Hypercognition is amazing. Yeah, it's for the spell. Still, it saves you feats. It's a good, useful feat. Lesson of Vows. Last Greater Witch lesson. Words have power, and those who use them to deceive should be prepared to face the consequences. You gain the Censure Falsehood's Hex, and your familiar learns Ring of Truth. It sort of compels a target to tell the truth. It's not very good at it. Censure Falsehoods. 2 actions. Focus rank 3. Concentrate, Curse, Focus, Hex, Manipulate, Witch, Uncommon traits. Lesson Vows. Range 30 feet. Target 1 creature. Defense Fortitude. You call on your patron to reprimand a creature that has attempted a deception or stealth check against you or an ally within the past month. Wow. You must be aware they did so. Whenever the target speaks, toads and serpents fall from their lips. The target attempts a fortitude saving throw. The spell lasts as long as the target remains sickened by it. This is great. It's not a sustain at all. It's so cool. Critical success. A few animals fall from their lips, but they're otherwise unaffected. I mean, it's still pretty obvious. You just burped up a frog. Yeah, well, so anyway, I was saying. Success, the target is sickened 1. Failure, the target is sickened 2. And if they perform an action that has the auditory trait or attempt to cast a spell, they must succeed a DC 5 flat check, or the action is disrupted as they choke on an animal. Oh, it does actually come up from their throat. That's nasty. Critical failure, as failure, and if the target attempts a deception or stealth check, their sicken value increases by 1 to a maximum of sicken 4. That's awesome! Alright, so this whole thing, all the patron stuff, all of which stuff is great for people that want to get more recall knowledge in. I love that this is here. I've been trying recently to maximize the recall knowledge of a witch. If you watch the Stolen Fate livestream, you can see that. So this is really cool and fun. And the Mocking Fae is really pretty. Just saying. Alright, well that is it for today from Rival Academies. I'll be continuing with the Rival Academies series, and then eventually I'll hit the NPC core, but before I do NPC core, I'm going to do at least one more Guns and Gears Remaster video, probably 2. I appreciate your time, and if you're a patron, I am grateful for your assistance every month. And so are the kitties. They are off licking each other. It's not weird if you're a cat. It's okay. If you are not a patron and you would like a chance to win a full set of Galaxy Beautiful Encrusted Sparkly Black and Purple Indigo Dice, then go to the patron link down below in the description. You'll have to pledge $5 or more if you want a chance to win. And if you're just hanging out on YouTube, come to Discord and hang out there. Why not? We talk about builds a lot, and we're nerdy people. We talk about food and things, movies, whatever, reading books, because we read them. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Freaking amazing series. If you like role-playing games. If you want to see Stolen Fate, it'll be here. If you want to see my Tian Sha series, it'll be here. Thank you. I will see you there.